Someone wanted me to make a video on how to face your fears of initiating contact, but I also want to talk about ways of facing your fears when it comes to doing certain rites, okay, or giving certain offerings that are a little more sacrificial. Now, the first thing that I want to talk about is how I go about doing these things. When I have extreme crippling fear of something, I talk myself into it. I will prepare myself, or I'll challenge myself, and I will tell myself, you can do this. If you're not going to do this, then you don't need to be practicing these kind of rites. Then you don't need to be doing these kind of rituals. If you're not going to go all in, then there's no reason for you to actually be trying to even look at these kind of practices. And that's how I go about my practices. I go about my practices is similar to when I'm doing bloodletting as well. I will tell myself, I want to do this, and I'm willing to do this. Are you gonna do this or not? Because you're wasting time. And I find that it really gets me into the mind state to just continue moving forward. I don't allow that to get in the way, because when you do, you waste time and you waste energy. There were times in which I was extremely afraid to use a bloodletting device, like a diabetic lancet, to prick my finger and put some blood onto a seal. See, it took me probably about 20 minutes. And that's when I realized this fear was getting a little too out of control, I was allowing it to completely hinder me from moving forward in rituals, taking the next steps and giving offerings, especially when it comes to devotional rites to the spirits that I work strongly with, because I only really give blood offerings to my patron, and blood offerings to those who I am truly serious about working with, those who I'm going to be working with for a long time. There's about 4 or 5 of them. And so, when it comes to that, I just had to get that shit out of the way. I really had to get that out of the way because it was getting in the way so much. And it was upsetting me because I would raise so much energy and have the perfect state in which I'm clear, I'm in a mild trance, I'm slightly kind of fading away when it comes to my consciousness, which is the perfect state when it comes to connecting to spirits for ritual or calling to them. And when it comes down to the damn bloodletting, it would get in the way, and I would spend like 20 or 30 minutes just sitting there trying to hype myself up to do it. And that's no way to go about the practice. Seriously, that is no way to go about the practice. But I'm a stubborn motherfucker when it comes to my practices, when it comes to myself, when it comes to feeling like I'm not about to let something get in my fucking way. To me, that's weakness. That fear is weakness, and it has no place within my ritual space because I don't consider myself a weak person. This is just pertaining to me. So I push myself to move the fuck forward and get over it. And ever since I've been doing that, it's been helping greatly. It's been helping also to, take away that fear of how a spirit's going to manifest, of how an infernal or deity that I'm working with is going to manifest. It takes that all away because I'm pushing straight forward and experiencing myself not being limited. And that is the beautiful part of just facing those fucking fears. That's the best part about it. You're moving past it and you're becoming stronger as a result of it. It's beautiful. that's the only advice that I have for people who are wanting to face those fears. The only literal way that you're going to be able to face them is just doing it. You just go for it. You just go for it. You can talk yourself up. You can, hold yourself to some high standards like myself, or you can just go about it in not involving those particular things in your rituals that will cause so much fear, but that will get in the way. And that's a route that I don't advise anyone to take, because of the fact that there's going to be a lot of things that you're going to need to do that may bring fear. So you have to make sure that if you're walking on this path and you're wanting to communicate with spirits, you want to open your abilities, you want to hone them, you want to understand how to connect deeper with the energies of the other worlds. Well, you have to understand that once you're in it, you're in it. And when you're experiencing these things, it's life-changing. You're altered when you experience this shit. You really do have life-changing experiences, but you also have some very traumatizing experiences as well, due to how the spirits might manifest in front of you, or due to how they might approach you. Some of them are not as playful, some of them are not as kind, or they may seem to come off as not kind, but the reason why they're like that is because they don't have the same perspective or morals as humans do. A lot of these beings have never been human. A lot of them have never actually had a human experience. And a lot of them only work with humans. Some of them are just literally starting to work with humans. Because there are undiscovered spirits as well that are only starting to work with spirits. So these are things that you really have to pay attention to as well when it comes down to pushing past these fears and facing them. Because there's a lot of shit that you're going to end up fearing. There are a lot of things that you're going to end up not wanting to do, to be quite honest. But it's a matter of seeing it through to the end, because you know you want those results. Seeing it through to the end because you know this ritual is literally what it takes to change your life for the way that you want your life to be. Sometimes you have to do rites that are like that. Ultimately, it is up to you, it is up to the practitioner on what they're going to decide to do, on whether or not they're going to allow that fear to limit them, on whether or not they're going to face that fear and realize that there's nothing to fear at all. Especially when it comes down to any kinds of beings manifesting around you. If you can't see them, hey, you can't see them. But it doesn't mean that they're not going to look exactly like how they already do look if you did see them. Doesn't mean their look is going to change. They're already there. They can change the look to make you feel more comfortable. Some of them won't, though. I really hope that this video finds you well. I appreciate everyone for their continued support. I want to say I'm also coming back with all of my rituals. I'll be bringing forward more empowerments. I will also be producing more YouTube videos. I'm going to be bringing back my reading services as well. There's potential for my pack service to be available again. I'm going to have to really think about that. But all of my rites, all of my readings, everything that I do is back. My website is going to be back up, and I'm going to be up and running again. I really had to take a break from a lot of this because I overworked myself and kind of crashed. But now I feel extremely rejuvenated and I'm ready to go. I really appreciate everyone that just continued to fucking stick around with me, through all this shit that I've been going through, especially in 2021. So, as always, remain sovereign.